Hello, everyone. It's nice to have you join us on today's episode. And I remain your host, Danny Michael. And in today's episode, I'll be talking about HTML tables. HTML provides an element called tables or a tag called tables. I've been always consistent with calling these elements instead of tags, but take correction, it's tags. Only the text in between the angle brackets are elements. So when it's complete in this format, it's a tag. Moving on, HTML table element allows web authors to display tabular data such as text, images, links, and other table information in two-dimensional table with rows and columns of cell. On my screen here, I already have a sample table, a simple basic table. To create the table, we use the table tag. The table tag has an opening and a closing. Inside this simple table, we are having three rows. The first row is the heading, and we have two other rows as the data of this table. If you look in between the first row, we are having the TH tag. The T arrow tag specifies table rows. That is why you can see we have three rows. The table rows have an opening and a closing tag. On the first row, we then have the TH, also known as the table heading. The table heading is used to specify the title of a particular column or row. Below the table head of the first row, we now have another row, which is also having a child element, TD. The TD tag is used to specify table data. That is the information that is to be presented under a particular column is being presented using the table data. Let's head over to our browser using the live server so you see how this looks. Here is our site on the live server. As you can see, we are having heading 1, column 1, heading 2, column 2. This is the first heading and this is the first column, and this is the second heading and this is the second column. We are having two columns present in this table. Horizontally, we are having the rows, while vertically, we are having the columns. It might be confusing, but I will clarify that in the next sample table where we will be having our border. So in this video, I will try to, as much as possible, to be fast. You can always come back to watch the video if I'm too fast, or if you can't catch up, you can always come back to the channel to watch this episode. And if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do so and turn on the notification icon so as to receive updates of the upcoming episodes. Moving on, we'll be talking about colspanning, or spanning of columns and rows. Table cells can be spanned with within multiple rows or columns using the colspan and the rowspan attributes. I have initially talked about attributes in my previous videos. You can as well go back to the previous videos to understand what attributes are. These attributes can be applied to the TH, which is the heading tag, or the TD, which is the table data tag. This is the TD and this is the TH. So to span a row, we have to create another table we have to create another table to show you how to span rows and columns. So to span rows and columns, we created a new table. In this table, you can see we have our first row with our table data. In this table, we are not having the table head, but we introduced the attribute called colspan and rowspan. We can span a column using the colspan attribute. The colspan will span a particular column the number of times you specified in its value. To span a column across the table based on the number you have specified in the colspan attribute value. Same thing applies to the row span. A row, a single cell of a table in a particular row, can be spanned across that same row based on the value specified to the attribute. We also included another attribute called the border. The border attribute is used to add borders to the table in order for us to be able to see everything clearly, the rows and the columns, and its spanning. I introduced this border. Else, we can also use our cascading style sheet to style our table to include its border. So we're going to our browser to see this. We're coming to our browser to see this. We now have column. We are now here on our browser. We have the spanning columns and rows. So as you can see the borders around this table. This is our first row, and this is the second row. We have 4 rows right here. Now, let me clear this out. There is something I saw here. Yeah. So in this table, we now have our borders. So you clearly see how rows and columns can be spanned. On the first or on the second row, we have our column spanned across 3 columns. As you can see, we have 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3. Now, the second row is spanning across 3 columns. The second row spans all 3 columns. While on the third row, we then have our row span. The row span spans vertically across the rows in the table. As you can see right here, this cell spans 2 rows. It spans 2 rows, while this one spans 2 columns. So this is a column, this is a column, and this is a column. So we're having 3 columns here, and the second row is spanning across 3 columns, while the third row is spanning across 2 columns. Hence, we don't have any, hence we're having 3 rows on the third and fourth column, and we're having only 1 column on the second row. I hope you understand that. So we'll be moving to the next table data or table sample, which is called the table head, table body, and table footer with its caption. Yes, you heard me say table head, and I have shown you table head initially. But in this case, we now have our table head data or our table head tag with its data inside it. So the table head tag has an opening and a closing. Let's go to my text editor so we see what that is. So we'll be creating another table. All right, we've created another table, and in this table, as you can see, we now introduced the caption tag of a table, which represents the table title. The caption tag can be used for a table title. Now the next thing we introduce here is the table head. Now this is the actual table head. The HTML5 was modified to embed this table head tag. This table head tag is used now to specify a table head. It has rows and also has columns. So inside the table head, we can now specify the TR, which is the row tag, and its other child elements, which is the TH, the table heading, the table heading tag. The table head element or the T head element is used to group table head together. We now also have the T body, which is also known as table body. It is used to group all table body data, while the T foot is used to create a footer on the table. So we can actually have the table head grouped, the table body grouped, and the table footer grouped, all inside the table tag. Let's head over to our browser and see how what this looks like. All right, we are right here on our next section, which is the table width, table head, table body, table foot, and its caption. So as you can see, in the first or the first and second tables, we don't have any title. I only specify this one here using a heading tag, which is H4. I only specify this here so as to differentiate the tables or the topics or the sections we are talking about under this topic tables. So the table title is created using the caption element or caption tag. Now, we then have the table head. This is the header content 1 and the header content 2. So in this case, we use our T head element or T head tag to group this head in this table. Now the second row, we are now having our body content. So this is for the first row, for the first column, and this is for the first column, and this is for the second column. After the table body, we then have our table footer. There are cases where you want to create table footer, but that will be your use case. That is it for table with the head, table with the body and its footer with a caption. So you can as well come back to watch this video or ask your questions if you feel confused or don't understand any section of this video. You can ask your questions on the comment section, and I will be glad to respond to that. We have come to the end of today's episode, and I hope by the end of this, you have been able to understand what table rows are. You've been able to understand what table columns are. We've thought about the table tag. We've also talked about the TR tag, also known as table rows. We talk about the TD tag, which is used to display table data. And we've also talked about the grouping of table head, table body, and table footer. We've also talked about the caption used to write or display the title for this table. So do ensure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so, and also turn on the notification icon to receive updates of the upcoming episodes. Stay safe till we meet again.